Thank you for joining today's NACDA webinar. Today, our special guest is Randy Goodrich. He is the sales manager, and are you the regional director, Randy?
Whatever they want me to be.
For Scenic Cruises. Scenic has been a long-time preferred supplier of NACDA, and we are very excited about having you here today to talk about your product. I want to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. I want to remind everybody that you are on mute, and that is to prevent any background sound. This session is being recorded, and you will find it shortly up on the NACDA website. If you want to listen to it again, you would go to nacda.com, log into your account, move over to the left-hand side. There will be a drop-down menu that says Recorded Webinars, and we'll have Randy's presentation up there. If you want to communicate with me, on the right-hand side of your screen, there will be a drop-down box that says Chat. If you have questions for me directly, please put them in the chat box. If you have questions that you would like me to ask Randy at the end of the session, please put them in the box that says Questions, and I will relay that to him at the very end of our session during the Q&A part. For now, I am going to put myself on mute, and I am going to hand the reins over to Randy. Randy, what's new and exciting with Scenic River Cruises?
Well, thank you very much, and thank all of you for taking time out of your busy day to learn about our wonderful product. I'll try to speed through this as fast as possible so you'll have a good idea of why Scenic is a very special product. It's not for probably all of your clients, but it's very important to offer to some of your best clients. The picture we see here at the beginning is our new brochure. We came out with this last May. It coincided with our new branding. Scenic is a global company. We are headquartered and started in Australia and have grown globally over almost 30 years as a tour company, and then starting in 2008 as a river cruise company focused on providing a luxury river cruise experience that is fully all-inclusive for your customers. So the logo now is just Scenic, not Scenic Cruises. It covers both the tour side and the cruise side. You'll see that we're starting to add more itineraries that are basically cruise and land, so that you can make one call and make that a wonderful booking for your client and make a lot of money. So that's kind of the idea. We've come up with this slogan to take the scenic route, which is not only luxury and all-inclusive, but a route that your customers will take to get the best experience in these wonderful destinations that we visit. So we try to include everything possible so that will happen for them. Where we travel is around the rivers of Europe. So we have been doing the Rhine, the Main, the Danube since the beginning. We moved into France a while back with the Rhone, and then last year we opened the Seine, and this year to the Bordeaux area. Next year we'll be opening Douro, and next year we'll be going into Southeast Asia, and we also have one ship up in Russia between Moscow and St. Petersburg. So one of the focuses on our marketing campaigns is creating these wonder moments, wow factor, we kind of call it. This is just an example of one a client sent to us when they woke up in Avignon to the sunrise. Just something they will never forget. So we try to create as many of those as possible, and these are moments of wonder where they will have something that will kind of emotionally move them that they didn't expect. And we're going to try to create as many of those opportunities as possible. Personally speaking, this is a picture of a wow moment that I experienced with my wife back in May when we were traveling on the Netherlands-Belgium cruise, which is only in the springtime. And we were cruising along, sitting on our balcony, having some wine and enjoying the beauty between Amsterdam and Antwerp. And all of a sudden these fireworks went off, and it turned out it's Remembrance Day, which is the day that they celebrate the end of World War II and when they got their freedom from the Nazis. So it was quite something. It was certainly a wow factor. It's certainly something we would never forget. So we hope that happens for your customers. The other one sent to us by a client in the Moselle River Valley, looking out over these low clouds in this beautiful, beautiful area. We talk about all-inclusive. Everybody out there, all the cruise lines seem to say they're all-inclusive, that they'll offer a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Our goal is to offer as much as possible of everything that that we can with the ship, being the size that it is, and the opportunities, what they are. We try to provide more than anybody else, and I believe we do that. So when we say all-inclusive, we mean truly all-inclusive. Our ships, we have 12 ships this year. 10 of those 12 are the maximum size allowed by the European Cruise Commission, and that is 443 feet long and about 40-some feet wide, 38 to 40 feet wide, and just so high, 3 stories typically. All the ships pretty much look like that. There are some that are smaller. We have 2 smaller ships, one in Russia and then the one that's built especially for the Seine River, so we could travel all the way to Honfleur. Very, very small harbor to get in there. It's also small locks and very low bridges, so we build a special ship. We typically have a lot fewer cabins than some of the competition. We'll have 169 passengers on the same size ship as some of the more mass market lines. They'll have as many as 190 to 196 passengers. So we have 10, 12 fewer rooms. What we do is we take some of the rooms and we give them to crew, so we'll have more crew members than most of the other people, and we'll make our staterooms on average 22% larger, and our public area 24% larger. So we have a very, very large lounge area, but that's partially because we include all the liquor of any type and any time, so our bar is rather large to accommodate that. We also offer 6 dining choices. So we have some special areas where people can dine in addition to the main dining room. Here's a picture I took. One of the things when Mr. Moroney, the owner of the company, from the start, he started the tour company out of college in Australia, and it's grown to be one of the largest luxury tour operators in the world. But one of the things he did when he got into the river cruise business, he said, why don't they have balconies? So he was actually the first ship that built balconies for the rivers, and they did that, and they had the railing across the balcony, and it was nice, except they quickly realized that there are days out there in Europe where it's rainy or cold or whatever, and it's not really pleasant to sit on the balcony. So they brought the ships they built up to that point, and in 2012 they renovated all those, and since then all the ships have this feature which they call the sun lounge. We may call it more like a sunroom effect. But you can see in this picture that there's actually 2 panes of glass there on the outer part of the balcony, and you can see the track on the side of the wall. You push a button if it's cold or wet, and you enclose yourself. So you push the weather back outside, and you can still enjoy your balcony. And that's in fact what we were doing when those fireworks went off. It got a little chilly, and we had the window all the way up, and it was quite comfortable. When the fireworks went off, I lowered it again so I could take pictures a bit more easily, but that's a terrific feature. People just love it. There's not a lot of reason to close the inner door. You just close the outer window. So you see that on all of our ships except the ship in Russia. As far as staterooms, there's several categories, of course. On the bottom deck, the first deck, we have our category D and E, the least expensive. They're 160 square feet, which is a little bit larger than a lot of the industry standards, go down as low as 130 square feet, but they're very well appointed. They do have a window up the top. The water level is about halfway up that wall, so obviously we can't have a balcony, but they will get some light in. They could sneak a peek out. Swans will probably be sneaking a peek in at them. But they're wonderful rooms, very, very affordable, and typically the last rooms we have available. Once all the suites sell out, they sell first. We sell basically at the top down. So when you get up to the second and third deck, we have category B through P, and it's just a difference of deck, but they all are kind of the same. You have a regular balcony suite like the one you see here. There's a deluxe balcony suite, which is just a little bit larger, and then you have the junior suites, which are 250 square feet. When you get into the bigger suites, the junior suites on up, you have not only a wonderful bathroom with a shower, you also have a bathtub. in most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And beautiful bathrooms, well appointed, Luxicon, fragrances, lotions, etc. Lower right is your royal suite. There's 4 of these midship. They're lovely. On all these ships prior to the last couple we built, they were 315 square feet. Now they're 360 square feet, so quite nice. The Big Daddy is the Royal Panorama Suites. There's 2 of these on board. In Europe, these are on the back of the ship, side by side at the very back of the ship, so you have kind of a 180-degree view. You've got the deck on the side, and then in the back, looking towards the wake, is a huge panorama window, so it's lovely. Up until last year, when we built the ship for the Seine, we started building 1-bedroom suites, and so they're larger, the largest in the industry, 475 square feet. Prior to that, there were just 1-room suites, which I thought were quite lovely, and they were around 360 square feet. So they're actually quite nice, but just you need to know that it's just the newer ships that have this bigger 1-bedroom suite. But just fabulous. You see the butler there giving the lady a little champagne. Every room on board, every cabin has a butler assigned to it. So. Dining choices, I mentioned we have 6 dining choices. So we have the Crystal Dining Room, which is our main dining room. That accommodates everybody in one seating quite easily. Never really crowded because we have the other dining choices. But it's wonderful, and we'll show you a quick view of the meal, sample some of the meals. Next, we have Portobello's, or in our French cruises, it's Le Mare. And Portobello's is Italian, and Le Mare, of course, is French. But this is an area which is behind the main bar, which would be the bow of the ship. It's closed off, and there's table settings for about 32 to 34 people. There's people sitting there, table for 4, but you can have table for 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe even 10. You contact your butler. You tell them what night you'd like to do that, and if you're with some other people, let them know that, and they will set that up for you. It's just lovely because it's up above, and you've got these windows, full ceiling to floor windows all around you. It's quite nice. It's 5 courses, lots of wine being poured. And when we include wine, we include all kinds of reds, all kinds of whites. And then you have Table de Rive. I'll show you that in a minute. And then we have River Cafe. That's on the right side of the bar. So if you look down towards the lower right picture there, that is the main bar area, looking towards the front of the ship. The Portobello's would be in as far back as you can see. That's glassed off and enclosed in the evening for the restaurant. But during the day, River Cafe is a deli. It starts at 6:30 in the morning with some early breakfast for those who like to get up early and check the news, check the emails, whatever, have a latte. They can have that there. It's a beautiful setting. And then during the day, it's a deli. So it's all kinds of, soup, sandwiches, wraps, salads, some special things we'll cook right there on the spot, where it's meant to be kind of a lighter meal than the heavy buffet type meal. So it's very, very popular. It's quite frankly where I typically have lunch. If you ever want to find me on board, that's where I'll be, probably. And then we have al fresco dining on the deck, and of course we have room service where you can get meals served to your room. The smaller cabins, it's a little tough to have a full dinner, but you certainly can have some light breakfast, lattes served. Your butler will bring that to you. Very, very nice. So here's some food. The morning buffet is outstanding. Yes, we have champagne, mimosas, those types of things are readily available there. There's some good fruit and eggs cooked to order. You name it, they've got it. And lunches are quite nice, both buffet and there's some things you can order if you want to. And then dinners are absolutely fabulous with 4 or 5 different choices. And we'll bring in local cuisine when we can, depending where we are. But it's quite nice. Some of the nicest I've ever had on the rivers. This is Table de Rive. Now, this is a special table. It's kind of like a captain's table on an ocean cruise. It's reserved for 10 people, so we can't have only 10 a night. That's 70 in a week, so we have 169 passengers. So that doesn't add up too well for everybody. So it's reserved for those passengers who have paid a little extra that have a cabin on our top deck, the diamond deck, or perhaps a junior suite on the sapphire deck, the second deck. And again, you tell your butler what night you'd like to. It's a fabulous experience for your clients who do like to have chef dinners, wine dinner, those types of things. This is something you should recommend for them, just to pay a little extra to get up to the higher deck and have the invitation to a special meal. One we did when we were in the Netherlands actually lasted about 3 hours. It's 6 courses. Every course has a wine pairing with it. You get to know the other people on board. We had Australian couple, a couple from Scotland, a couple from England, and a couple from Canada. Got to know each other quite well in that 3-hour period of time, and maybe too well. The wine selection that we have with lunch and dinner, and a lot of cruise lines will serve wine with lunch and dinner and beer, but it's typically 1 red, 1 white. We bring out a cart which has 6 reds, 6 whites, a rosé, and a port. So it pretty much matches everybody's interest in what type of white wine, Chardonnay, whatever they like. And red wines, do they want a Rhone? Do they want a Cabernet? What do they want? So, that's a big difference to people who like wine. This is the alfresco dining. This is particularly spectacular when we're cruising during the day, like through the Rhine Gorge. We cruise for 4 or 5 hours and see 40 castles. But you're sitting there enjoying this nice buffet, having the drink of your choice. You even have our GPS device, which is helping you recognize which castle is which, some history about them. And, of course, the friendly butlers who are all trained in the Netherlands and are multitaskers par excellence. They're amazing how many different things they're doing all day long and all night. So that's kind of the on-the-boat experience. It's fabulous. It's really kind of like where your customers like to stay in very upscale 5-star hotels like Four Seasons, Ritz, whatever. So that's nice. But the real experience on a river cruise is about the land, about the destinations that we visit, that you wake up every morning and you're in a new place. What can we do to make that experience as fulfilling as possible and create those wonder moments for your customers? This is just a sample of one stop on the Rhone River where you've got 4 different choices. And typically every stop we have, you'll have anywhere from 3 to 5 different choices your customer has. So it's kind of like Regent Cruises if you work with them. You can't take all of these. You have to make a choice which one you want. And customers really love that. I have a hard time making that decision sometimes, but it gives them a choice based on what their interests are. So nobody does that. Nobody else in the industry does that except us, have multiple choices, as many as we have. We also throw in our Scenic and Rich, which is a private, unforgettable experience in different locations, typically 1 of these per week. Some of our 10-day sailings even have 2 of them. And so they're spectacular. The pictures there, that's in Vienna, where almost all the river cruise ships offer some type of a Viennese concert and ballet. Most of them, it's additional charge, and it's with other groups in one of their concert halls, which is quite nice. I did that the first river cruise I took about 12 years ago, and we loved it. We paid some money for it and enjoyed the experience. I then did it with Scenic, and it was over the top. We went to the Palais Liechtenstein. We were the only people there. Private champagne reception. Went into the music hall with the Prince of Liechtenstein, is one of the largest private art collectors in the world. Spectacular setting and just an amazing experience I'll never forget. On the bottom, that picture is Palais de Pop on Avignon, on the Rhone. And Scenic is the only company in the world who has the right to have a private event outside the French government. So it's quite nice, unforgettable, and it kind of gives you an idea. Scenic's been doing this for 30 years, focused on luxury and providing these special type of experiences for people. So we have some access that some other people don't. This is the Scenic TaylorMade. This is our GPS system. Very, very popular with our clients. Every cabin has 2 of these in there in a docking station. It's multitasking. If you're going on a guided tour, it allows you to whisper box. It allows your client to listen to the tour guide from maybe as much as a block away or so. And it also, people for the more independent minded, or people you have the afternoon, you want to go do something different. It's preloaded with tours, so you just push the tour you want, My wife and I in Amsterdam did the Rembrandt tour. So it's guided us around to go to the statue, the museum where we grew up, all that stuff, gave us the history. So it's like having your own personal guide without having to pay for it. And then you can use it either walking or on our e-bikes. I'll show you those in a minute. But you can also use it on board. If you're on board, like when you're going to the Rhine Gorge, it knows where you are because of the GPS, and will tell you to look at certain things out there and give you some history on it. And finally, if you want to just go wander and take off and wander around, you can. A lot of people don't like to do that because they're afraid they're going to get lost. They don't know the language. They will miss the boat. But this is kind of nice because, and they might miss something along the way they didn't even realize was there. Just as they walk, we'll tell them if they're coming up with something that would be a point of interest, and they can choose to stop and listen to the history of that. It also helps them get back to the ship. So they can wander off and feel confident they won't get lost. Not that nobody ever has, but we also know where they are because, the GPS coordinates. So it kind of has multi functions to it, but very, very popular. And we're the only people that have it. Okay, the bikes. So most people have bikes now, most of the cruise lines. But we decided that we had regular bikes for a while, and there's just a certain segment of people that really go out and use the bikes a lot, and then there's a whole lot of other people that don't use the bikes too much because they're not bike riders, and they're a little intimidated that they don't want to slow other people down, or they don't want to get to a certain point where they can't get up the hill, or they just get too tired. So we came up with the concept of e-bikes that allows everybody, almost everybody, to have the opportunity of riding a bike out in some of these wonderful areas where typically it's too far to walk and the tour buses and tours don't go to. It gives you a better chance to really kind of see more how the people live and some special things that are around that area. So it is very popular. These people here are just leaving Dürnstein on the Walkout Valley on the Danube on a 22-mile bike ride up to the Melk Abbey. So most people wouldn't do that just for the heck of it. But with that electric booster, it's quite easy to do and an experience of a lifetime. So we do try to go to the nth degree. The little degree symbol on our logo now, Scenic with a degree, that's what that stands for. As such, the only thing your clients can pay for on board our ships is a massage, a haircut, maybe a very expensive bottle of champagne or wine, something on a special menu. But everything else is included. There are a couple of gift items they could buy in the gift shop, which is just a little window. So there's not much they could spend money for, and we tried to figure out what else can we throw into the hopper, and we came up with concierge laundry. If you don't have laundry services on the boat, that would just take up a lot of room. And so once a week, they are able to, when they get their documents, actually, you'll see they get a backpack, and inside the backpack's a laundry bag, and they can fill the laundry bag up as kilos they can do, which is 2 or 3 pounds. So you're mainly talking about undergarments, which is most people's concern. And they give it to the butler on that day, the chosen day, and he will get it all taken care of for them. So that's yet one more thing that we offer. As far as the itineraries, we'll run through these. I assume you know most of these already. But, the Rhine-Main-Danube, that's the primary river cruises that people want to take. First of all, because that really takes them into the central part of Europe, where a lot of the history and culture formed over the many, many years when the rivers were basically the highways, and how transportation people got around, how commerce was transacted, etc. So there's a ton of history there. The 2-week trip between the Jewels of Europe between Amsterdam and Budapest, one of the most popular, with 3 rivers, 5 countries, 68 locks. Quite the experience to go from Eastern to Western Europe, or vice versa. The Rhine, of course, which goes out of Amsterdam down to Basel, and you can have a 15-day trip where we include Moselle and Belgium. The 8-day trip, the 1-weeker, just goes between Amsterdam and Basel, Switzerland, or vice versa. In the spring, the 8-day Dutch sites in Belgium Delights, the Netherlands and Belgium is quite nice. That's one that we just went on in May. This is the last 2 weeks of April and the first week of May, when all the tulips are out in the Kugenhof Gardens outside of Amsterdam. Spectacular. I took so many pictures of it. My camera ran out of memory, but just spectacular. And then, of course, one of the most popular trips for all the cruise lines is the Danube. the Blue Danube, which isn't so blue, but it's quite a spectacular trip because it does get people into understanding a little bit more of the history of this part of Eastern Europe, which is so rich in history. And then finally, the Danube, the lower Danube, we've got the 11-day trip down from Budapest, basically ending up in Bucharest, or even a 16-day that goes from Vienna all the way to the Danube Delta and take Zodiacs out into the Black Sea. And then there are a couple of trips every year where we get those people that want to do the whole thing and to combine the jewels of Europe with the lower Danube. Then they can go actually from the North Sea to the Black Sea. Some pictures I took of the Keukenhof Garden, just to give you an idea. Spectacular. So in France, we have the three areas that really river cruises do take place. We started on the Rhone. We have 2 trips there, a 7-day and a 14-day. On the Seine, we are the only people that go to Honfleur. I'll show you more about that in a minute. And then to Bordeaux, which I'm actually going to be there a month from now. So I can't wait. So we have the 4 rivers. Bordeaux is the Dordogne and the Garonne. A lot of focus on wine as well as the culinary, and as well as not just French history, but a lot of Roman history there. So here's the Seine River from the map. You can see most of all the other cruise lines. We're the only actually river cruise company that's marketed in the United States that goes all the way to Honfleur. Most of the others stop in Caudebec, or even some in Rhone. And then by going to Honfleur, we save people half a day on a bus to go back and forth to visit the Normandy beach area. And Honfleur is a lovely little place, but it's a very, very tight harbor, as I mentioned. So we built a ship with only 128 passengers so that we can navigate that effectively. Very popular, selling out quite quickly. The Normandy beaches is the Bordeaux area. You see the 2 rivers. You've got the estuary there that goes out, the huge sand dunes that are in that area, and of course a big focus on wine, in this case cognac. On the French itinerary, we offer a number of different shore excursions as well each day. One of those typically being shop with the chef. So some people who like to do that sort of thing can go into the town or village with the chef and watch them shop for fresh vegetables, etc. 16. So we're going to add a couple more ships to Europe. One that will be in the Rhine-Main-Danube area, and then a new one on the Douro. We're still building a special ship in some of our own docks there. So we'll have 14 ships in Europe. And so let's talk about the Douro for a sec, because our itinerary is different than anybody else's. It's actually an 11-day itinerary. Most people are 7. We go all the way up the river. We spend a couple extra days in some of these places, so you can have some excursions out to Salamanca, Spain, to Paso de Paco, where the Kingdom of Portugal really was founded by the first king there, and we have a scenic and rich private event up there. So it's a spectacular itinerary. You can add Lisbon for 3 nights. You can add, there's also a couple other itineraries, land-based, adding Madrid and things like that. So really, really popular. This goes over some of the uniqueness of the area, the birthplace of port wine. We don't navigate the river at night. That's not allowed. We do go through 10 locks, so that's always during the day. We have 7 docking stations. We're building 2 of our own. We're the only ones to have those. So it is a unique itinerary, 96 guests is all. It has all of our typical features. We have 6 dining venues, the butler service, the sun lounges. There is a pool on board, a gym and wellness center, but we don't have the e-bikes for the Taylor. It's a pretty remote area. So we visit the ancient archaeological area. And then we're adding, going into Southeast Asia. We've done charters mainly for the Australian and New Zealand market the last couple of years to gain some experience. So we're going into the Mekong starting in January. And one of the decisions that Mr. Maroney made was he didn't want to have the same type of boat that everybody else has, which is lovely boats, the kind of junk looking style, made mainly out of beautiful wood and things like that. Quite lovely. He said it's time for a modern luxury ship. So he's building this beautiful ship. There'll be nothing else like it on the Mekong. It's all 1-bedroom suites. There's 34 suites. The smallest one's 244 square feet, and then in the top front are the 2 huge 660 square feet with a 200 square foot deck with a jacuzzi and day bed. So pretty spectacular. You can see there's going to be a pool, there's a spa, steam sauna, wellness center, gym, library, open air cinema. It's really quite unique. 1-to-1 staff ratio, 4 dining options here, butler service, guest laundry, all the shore excursion, tipping, gratuities, transfers, like in Europe, everything's included in the price. Just going to picture what the pool area is going to be. This will also be one of the dining areas. There's the dining room. And here's our smallest cabin, 344 square feet. There's the bedroom, and there's the sitting area with the deck, and with the windows that go up and down again. We also have another category, 430 square feet, and then you have the big one, 860 with the deck. So pretty spectacular. It's the big one is you just if you want to book it, I would suggest trying to get it. Jump in for 2017 because they're basically all gone for 16. This cruise is sold out so fast, and we have so many demands for charters that we're building a second ship that's dedicated to charters. And then we're building another ship that's going to be very similar, a little bit smaller, only 22 cabins instead of 34. That would be going on to the Irrawaddy later next year. So inaugural, as I mentioned, January 2016. Sail both up the Mekong and down the Mekong. Typically stop in Ho Chi Minh City and then Siem Reap. And then there's a number of land itineraries to go to northern Vietnam, cruise Halong Bay, that kind of Laos, Thailand. There's quite a few different choices there to combine. So you can see the basic itinerary here. Scenic and Rich, we have our own private puppet show where we actually go backstage and meet the people that are doing this, see how it's done, etc. So we'll get into booking now. That's the itineraries through 2016. It's the old early bird gets the best cabins, like I mentioned, even in Mekong now. The ship's hasn't been finished yet, and it's 80-some% sold out. So Scenic has been in business for almost 30 years. They've got a very, very loyal following. When they come out with new products like this, people jump on it very quickly. And the Australians, New Zealanders, and even some of the UK people tend to book earlier than what we're used to. So some of the space and it sells from the top down. So the best cabins are typically the first to go. So just how we do things, we have early booking incentives. We have fly free or discounted air that we're offering this year for 2016. And we have some sailings, basically kind of in the off-season times where we waive the single supplement for the single travelers. There is business air as an option. But we only require a $500 deposit, even though you're getting all these great discounts. The final payment is due 90 days prior to departure. One of the easiest ways to get more information and to book and actually check availability is through our agent portal. It looks like this. Express Books on the upper left is our booking engine. It's quite simple to use. You need to get a username and password, either through your agency or directly. And then you can get in and immediately find availability. I'll show you how that works in a minute. Our group policies in there. You can order brochures from this site. Order them from this site, not the consumer site, because you can order up to 10. On the middle right is a Scenic Specialist program. Take that, become a specialist. Anything you book, make a booking within 6 months, you get a $200 per coupled bonus. It was sent to you in the form of a debit card that you can use anywhere you want. There's videos that we offer. We can't show them on this. It doesn't work with this particular format that we're doing today, but you can go online and see those. You can YouTube them as well. They're quite spectacular to show even more how the different free choice tours that are available, how the GPS system works, Scenic and Rich, things like that. You can show your customer. When it comes to booking, you can actually book or create a quote. So you simply, every one of our packages has a tour code. You put the tour code in, you put a date. It's going to pull up 3 months worth. It'll then pull live availability by date. And typically it's one line on it. I've expanded these to show you that then it shows you which type of cabins. We quite often you'll see availability. When you open it up, it's only the D&E cabins. In this case, this is a little bit earlier, so we had some space available. You click on any one of these cabin categories, it's going to pull up the actual available cabins. The ones that have numbers on them are available. So you can see the two big suites in the back and the pink ones were gone already. They go fast, so the Royal Suites, so they do go fast. But anyway, you can click on these, you can look at them, and show you the deck plan. You go through this with your customer. They're either be ready to buy. If they're ready to buy, you might go through and do the dietary and mobility. This is how we collect that information ahead of time. It doesn't have to be done at booking, but it has to be done before final payment. So we're aware of what limitations they may have. The discounts, you select which one you want, free air or whatever. And then you can, at that point, either go through the process to finalize the booking, and they have 48 hours to pay the deposit, or you can create a quote, which looks like this, and they'll get that. It's got the link at the bottom to the itinerary they like, a detailed itinerary. There's also the attachment. There is a proposed invoice. If they do like it and call you back, you simply go back into the Express Book. Your quote will be right there. You click on it and convert it to a booking. So very, very nice. We'll be adding online payments. We're just getting that finally authorized. That'll be shortly. So this is a list of our representatives throughout the United States. If you're in Canada, you need to go to the Canadian office up there. They have somewhat different programs and whatnot, so you need to work directly with them. But these are your representatives. And Jeannie just came with us. She's in the Northeast now. I spent part of this week with her in Colorado doing some training, and she's coming on board. She was with another river cruise company prior to this, and the airlines prior to that. Richard Hickey in the Southeast. Many of you know, he was with Oceana for many, many years. So Mark Jeanette is actually our sales manager, and he works the Southern California, Arizona area. Midwest, Tom Van Dorn. Texas, Oklahoma, and the wide area, the southern Midwest, I guess you might call it, is Carolyn, who used to be with another one of the river cruise companies as well. I handle whatever's left over, basically. Jerry Hamilton's our group person. So with that, Lorraine, I'm ready to take some questions.
Perfect, thank you. And I see by your name being on there, you have a very large territory, Randy. Because California's pretty big, you know.
Well, I'm sitting in a parking lot here and wherever I am now. I'm actually back in Oregon now. I was in Colorado this morning.
Wow. Wow. And just for those of you on the line who know Randy, he is the master of multitasking. I'm telling you, he's in his car, he's on the phone, he's got his laptop. He's not in his office, he's not somewhere comfortable. So I really want to thank you, Randy, because I know you had some situation happen where you couldn't be at your desk today. So thank you again for being here and giving us this presentation. Really appreciate it. A couple of questions that came up. You piqued a couple of people's interest about the concierge laundry. Could you explain that just a little more so that people can make notes for themselves?
Yeah, what will happen is each itinerary we have, they will select a city. Typically, it would be the larger city that we visit. So on the Rhine, it's probably Cologne. On the Danube, it's probably Vienna. And we're going to negotiate with some laundry or whatever. And what the people do is they fill their laundry bag up with things they want to have laundered. And on that morning, leave that probably hanging on the doorknob or right out by their door. And the butler will pick those up and take those into that laundromat and make sure they get cleaned properly and bring them back to their room.
And what category levels is this?
All categories.
All category. Well, making a special note.
Laundromat's going to be busy that day.
I bet. Excellent. And then you also, as I believe I heard you say, because somebody was asking, you're recommending that if somebody wants to be able to order more than one catalog, that they need to go through the agent portal because they can order multiple copies.
Yeah, on the basic site, scenicusa.com, which is consumers go on the agent site too, but there's no reason for them to do it except curiosity. But they can't book or things like that on that site. But on the consumer side, if you order a brochure, it's going to be just one brochure. But if you want to have several brochures, then just go to the agent site and click the brochure button. You can do that.
Okay. What is the name of the itinerary when people are able to do the tulips? I believe it's in early spring only. Is there a designated name?
Yeah, it's Belgium Delights. We can go back to it. I should know because I was on it a few months back. But I'm old. I'm allowed to forget.
You're not old. You're a spring chicken.
Okay, I go past it.
I saw the pictures for the garden, but I didn't see the itinerary. There
it is. Dutch site, Belgium Delights, and
Perfect.
it's getting very popular. But I mean, I was wild with that itinerary. I went mainly because my wife loves the flowers and whatnot. It just seems like it. And for us, you fly in and out of Amsterdam, so almost all parts of the United States that we have a gateway that's pretty easy to get to Amsterdam. That's a great city by itself. But, we went into Bruges. That's included in the package, and Bruges is quite something for people to see. I'd heard about it forever, never been there. And then the Delta Works, where the huge project, billions of dollars to protect the Netherlands from getting flooded again, like they did a while back. And that's you walk right into the project, you're right in the middle of the thing. Hopefully, there's no big flood at that point. But it's a really interesting. More interesting than I expected. So.
I was there a couple of years ago. It's absolutely beautiful. And, springtime is the time to go because it's when they have them. And it's beautiful. It is definitely beautiful back there. I'm glad you showed the pictures. It brought back good memories for me.
The last question.
Hey, we know how to reach each other offline. The last question that I have listed is someone was just curious about the demographics for Scenic Cruises. You'd mentioned the Australian clients. Is there a U.S. to Australian or European ratio?
Well, it's changing because the word is getting out in North America. Joe Maloney was hired 2 years ago to form a sales organization like most of the other river cruise companies and cruise companies have in the United States. They hadn't done that before. And so he's done that and, hired people like myself and others that have been in the industry for a while. And we're doing our best to get the word out. So the percentage of North Americans on board is increasing, and the commitment from Mr. Maroney is huge. He knows the North American market is crucial to his success as he builds more and more ships. So he has actually dedicated more and more itineraries to 8 to 10 day types, and the new ships are all being put on that, and that's mainly a focus on North America. So it's changing, but if you're a longer cruise, you're going to get more Australians and New Zealanders. They love Scenic. They've been traveling on cruises with them for a long time. But it's a wonderful experience too. Everything's English on board. There's no other language spoken, and I enjoyed it. And talking to people from England and all over the place. I tell you guys are all independent agents. On our trip, we had a group from the Philippines, and we don't market in the Philippines. So I was sitting with some of them one morning at breakfast, and I said, "How the heck did you guys book this thing?" I said, "Oh, my mom does that. She booked it through Jolly One Travel in Montana." And he's got an internet website, something River Cruises, and he's in my broad territory. So I called the guy up when I came back. That was great. I mean, there's probably 30 of them, and they're all ready to book another one.
Wow, very nice.
Opportunities out there for sure.
Well, and speaking of having international clients, are there any restrictions from agents in the U.S. who have clients that are outside the U.S., such as Canada or Australia. I know some cruise lines, some of these are mass market cruise lines, not small ships cruise lines, but there are a couple of mass market cruise ships that say, hey, sorry, if you have a client who lives in Australia, you can't book it. They have to book it from somebody there in Australia.
What I would suggest, we have restrictions as far as marketing. We don't want people in the United States marketing in Australia. It's going to upset our Australia partners down there. But we also realize that there are cases like this guy, and we don't have anybody marketing in the Philippines anyway, so that was not a conflict. But Australia and New Zealand would be a big conflict. It's mainly Australia, New Zealand, and UK and Canada. They all kind of have their own separate sales organizations, so the marketing part is a concern. If you have a customer, what I would suggest is contact your Scenic regional manager and let us know, and we'll make sure that goes through seamlessly as possible. Reservations might try to hiccup it, but if we kind of manage that process and let them know this is one of your customers, they just happen to live.
Well, you know, it's funny now that you and I are discussing this. I actually do have a client who lives in Australia, and he loves river cruises. So as the sentence was coming out of my mouth, I was remembering my client, even though the question wasn't posted by me. I went, you know what? I do have an international customer in Australia. So, you know what? When I start reapproaching him, I'll work with you guys.
Yeah. Well, we want you to be happy and want your client to be happy. So.
Absolutely.
And we want them on the boat. So.
Exactly. The point is we want them on the boat. Yeah. So the final thing, it's not even a question. I know that you're going to be at the NACTA conference. And for those of you who are new on the call and new to NACTA, we are having our national conference on the Big Island on the Kona side from October 8th through 12th. And Randy, I believe that you are
That's
also going to be there. Try that November. Wrong month. November. Sorry, scared you. Sorry.
I'll be in Bordeaux in October.
We'll redo that. In November, we are having the national conference, and I believe you're going to be there.
Yes, I will be. Anxious to meet everybody.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. That was the last set of questions that we had. Just as a reminder, this is being recorded. We will have it up on the NACTA website. Thank you again, Randy. If people, they're in your region, we will make sure to have them reach out to you. And then now that you are bringing some other people on board, thank you. Everybody close your eyes for a second while I flips through the slides. Make sure to reach out to your BDM. Also, make sure to sign up, take their courses. Now, do the courses go through you, or they go through Travel Academy? Where are the courses located?
In the agent portal, there's a big box talking about it, and you click on that, and that takes you right to that's a link into the course.
Perfect. And for those of you who are listening to this live or on the recording, we will hear Randy's lovely voice again on Monday, September 28th, and he will have his emerald hat on because Randy manages many people. He is an expert on everything he does, but I just want to kind of give everybody a little bit of heads up if you want to find out about yet another component of what he does. Randy Goodrich will be talking about emerald. So I want to thank you again, Randy. Thank you, everybody, for taking your time out of your long, busy day to be able to be here and hear what he has to share. So, Randy, have a good, safe drive, and I will talk with you on the 28th.
Okay. Look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, everybody.